And I told them that night, I remember telling them something that night that all of them felt it was this. And as I said to them in my concluding speech, that if I take public money that I'm not entitled to, God should punish me and my children. Wow. Not because of anything, but God gave me enough. More than my fair share. Not about my condemnation to be anything. It is that we can't go on the way we're going today. It is unacceptable. We can't just watch a good country God created with everything. We have good weather. You haven't heard of any catastrophe. We have good food. We have good air. Everything. Human beings that are very, 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 if trained, incredibly talented, and can change the world. And then we allow a situation where just a group of people have criminalized the process and refuse to go away. I saw it in Anambra State, like my chairman has told you. So part has been in this a long time. When I was invited to this event, I don't know the people, I've never met them, I've not met Ken, I've not met anybody. And I recall my wife asking me, Peter, must you go to everywhere they invite you? And I said, they are Nigerians. Maybe if I go there, maybe you convert one. Because what we need now is to convert people. And you see our country today, the way it is and everything, everybody's saying how we're going to change it. Let's ask ourselves, how did we get here? That is the question. How did we arrive at this junction? Iran generates 74,000 megawatts of electricity. We generate 4. And they're protesting. Iran has the unemployment of 11% and youth unemployment of 25%. We have unemployment of 19.8 and youth unemployment of 61%. So those youths will protest one day. Those of us who happen to be lucky to live in Ikoyi and Victoria Land, I say to them every day, if we don't look for food for those who live in Ajegunle, one day we will not be living. So my people, what you need to do is, I believe that you must invest in Nigeria, you must bring your investment. You have a situation today where people are owing salary for 7 months and they're celebrating their birthday. How can you say a thing like that? How can you be celebrating when you've ruined people's life? People are dying and you're celebrating and people are watching it on TV. It's a crisis. And the only people that can stop that crisis is you. They can't stop it. As governor, I come here, you know what people tell me? This man bought this house, this man bought this house. Where are you going to buy your own? Why will I buy a house in America? I don't live in America. I have nothing to do with America. It only cost me $200 to come here and go. Why will I buy a house? Americans should live in America. I'm a Nigerian. I live in Onitsha. That is where I should live.
Obi for life. Obi. We may not be there. We must take our country. We must take our country. We may not be there. Obi the family.
care if after doing this today I will lose my job. It didn't matter. What matters that we are tired and frustrated of bad leadership in Nigeria. Not only in Nigeria, in my state precisely. I'm from Abia State. We have been unlucky that we have not been having a good leadership in Nigeria. Please, our cry is this: one, we want good leadership, and what we want is P2B. Please come and do what nobody have not done in Nigeria.
This president, Peter Obi, we are begging him to come and rescue this country.
Yes.
It is possible. Yes. If we all can come out massively and vote. Yes. They say we don't have structures. Nigerians are the structures, and we believe that with the structures will make it possible for him to be a president of this country. Yes. And deliver us from insecurity, economic meltdown. We have suffered enough. Thank you.
I'm sincerely grateful. Whenever I hear of no structure, my answer to it is simple. The 100 million Nigerians that live under poverty will be the structure. The 35 million Nigerians who don't have youth, who don't know where the next meal will come from, will be the structure. The elderly, the mothers, the fathers, the old ones that are dying or being owed gratuity, pension will be the structure. The ASU, the lecturers who are being owed, the students that are not in school will be the structure. We will create the structure, and they will see what the structure is all about. The structure is about human beings. If I didn't trust you, and go and check, it's on tape. How did he make the tape? Was a student union former president, an alumni chairman president, made a tape. Anambra State University today is in section. They are not on strike. Reason is that in 2011 or so, when they were in strike, they came to my office and said university is in strike. And I said, VC, acting VC, what is it? He said, because of A, B, C, D. I said, how much will I give you? And you'll be able to ensure that this school, they stop the strike. He said to me, this is the amount. And I looked at him and said, I can't pay this amount. But let me tell you what I'm going to do. You are being paid 45 million monthly now. Let me double it forthwith to support you. And that's what I say. I'm not saying no government fulfills everything. Nobody gets 100% effort globally, but we want 100% effort and sacrifice towards where we're going. We cannot keep our children at home for months now, and we're talking about 2023. That university, go and check, got the highest ever given for infrastructure by any state university to date. In 1 year, I gave them 5 billion naira. So it's about the future. Yes, people can say anything about how I manage the resources. That was why I was able to keep 75 billion of Anambra State money when I was leaving, because it's public money. It was not my money. It was money entrusted to me by the people. It's not my money. So nobody should have expected me to use it wrongly. And I said it now, I've been out of office for the past 9 years. Anambra have not bought me pure water. Pure water. No gratuity, no pension. Because at the time they entrusted me with their money, I managed it. And when I was leaving, like I told you, Chairman, I made 35 billion gratuity and pension outstanding. And I said to them, and I say it any day, it is crime to owe old people. Yes. when they have less opportunity in their difficult time. We must stop that. So it's about future of Nigeria. It's about future of trying to ensure that our youth become productive. I have only one job, and I keep saying it, to move Nigeria from consumption to production. So I thank you for being part of this, and I assure you we'll be committed to it. It is about managing our resources efficiently for production. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you.
trying to do to have good government. More focus on security. securing the country, who will invest in education to bring more human capital that is required for you to come back and become that investor before we talk about other people who are going to come to you. There's nothing called foreign investor. It is when you are making profit that when good people here will see you and follow you. No, if you can't be here, they will go there. They are not fishing for them. It's when they see you going back and see the amount of money you are making, they will ask you, can I join? Somebody asked me yesterday, he said he didn't like the fact that I said I was the only governor without office in First Lady. And I should moderate it when I say it, because sometimes women don't like it. And I said, no. Nobody voted for my wife. So how can we create an office for somebody without any run for office? My wife, we're very close. Two of us live in the house, but I was the one they voted for. And she's my wife, my mother, but it's in the house.
Only you waka come.
But why did we do that? We didn't do it because we don't want the office, but when we found out, when I started the office of the governor, just like it is till today, the cost of governance in Nigeria is totally unacceptable.
Yep.
We don't have, there's no same person that uses 20 vehicles. No, we have people now who are using even 40. What do they get doing? If you see governor of Texas today in 10 vehicles, you think he will remain tomorrow? They will remove him immediately. And the person who asked me about this, I said, in your state in America, do they have office of first lady? No. Said no. No, it doesn't have. I don't know him, I said, let me tell you. Biden's wife, I don't know him that Biden's wife is first lady in name. There's no office you enter. They say the office of first lady. If he wants to go to, Biden is traveling, there are companies, so they call him first lady. But he cannot go and print the head, have advisors, have to follow him about. They come forth. If he goes out, he can go out, but here you have people going around with 20 vehicles, ambulance, everything. And they say, who is going at that? We're just like this, and I tell people that in my 8 years of being governor, nobody had the opportunity of drinking wine in the government house. No, I wasn't running a bar. I didn't want to fish school. And people will say people are not happy. Yes, when I live here, comedians will come, musicians and flavor will come. That's people who make people happy. Not me. My job is to show that if I start, like I'm preaching to you this night, that I don't end in 4 years telling you that power cannot move from 4,000 to at least 15,000. That is my job. My job is not to tell you why schools, a country with the least human capital, our human capital is 168 over 172 universities. Why we cannot train our children? Why we cannot? The kids today didn't say, I should make them happy. I listened to what they read. We want you to give education to children. That was their request. How did we get here? All you are seeing in Nigeria today is cumulative effect of leadership failure over the years. The only thing that Nigeria lacked is leadership. And that is the leadership that brought us where we now have the highest number of people living in poverty in the surface of the earth. Where we now have the highest unemployment. Where we now live in fear of insecurity. And we don't know where. And some of you who are lucky to be here, as Lord said, are faced with double tragedy. I will explain it to you. So what are we trying to do is what part I've explained to you. Ours is that we can take this place back. We can fix it. This looks difficult. Countries have gone through this. It's mentioned to you about what happened in India. It happened in Brazil or South America. The role models we have in government are the least in the society. And all of us are complaining. There's no way we won't complain. There's no way. People say to me, how were you able to save money? It was very simple. All we did was to shut down the cost of governance. In 8 years, I never had a governor's lodge in Abuja. Why should I have it? I don't live in Abuja. It's not necessary. As a governor's lodge in Lagos, you can go and see it. I lived it for 25 years. I don't live in Lagos. Why should we have governor's office in Lagos? When they invite me to Abuja for meeting, I'm the only person invited. Why should I go with 30 other people who nobody invited? And they have no reason to be there. And that's what is happening. You don't need to go too far. No, it's important that you know that. That is what is their problem, the cost. I have to pay for 30 people, nobody invited for the meeting. They constitute a nuisance to the traveling public at the airport. I go to the hotel and pay for them. And you know, because they're idle, they eat more. Because they have nothing they're doing. Why should I pay for them? And that was the cost. And it's important that if you people get involved, because when people say, they say, where did you get the money from? We didn't get the money from anywhere. We had 11, 12 governors' guest house when I started. I shut all of them down. I'm a married man. If I finish work, I go home. There's no reason why I should go to guest house. Because he's the governor. The governor has to live an exemplary life. It's important that you people, the reason why I'm saying this is for you to get involved. I give you one example that saved us over $500 million. Obasanjo was to visit Anambra State. In my tenure, he has phoned me. He's there and they said, I have to build the presidential lodge. I said, the president doesn't live in Anambra State. Why should I build a lodge for him? By the time I know it, they have directed somebody who had already packaged contract of $500 million. I said, we will build the house. Within 6 months, you will complete it. I said, not as long as I'm here. You're not going to build this place. The president can come in the morning and go in the evening. He doesn't have to sleep here. He doesn't have to sleep here, and I'm not going to do it. When the president phoned me directly, when Obasanjo said, yes, he must sleep in Anambra State, I went to him. I said, Mr. President, it's very simple. I have a lodge as a governor. My bed, everything is there. What I'm going to do, I went to his people, let me vacate this place for 1 month. For you people, you stay here. When you go, I come back. I don't need to build a new house. And believe me, they accepted my own position, but took my keys for 1 week. I asked my wife, listen, carry everything out. We'll go 1 week, let them stay here. He slept in my own bedroom and everything. And 1 week we spent in a hotel in Oka, 120,000 naira. That would have cost us $500,000. Why are we going to do it? They have at least $56 million in Fidelity Bank, and they have at least $50 million in Diamond Bank, because we said we will save our money. We don't need to. But I'm saying all of you here can do it. There's enough money in this country. The irresponsibility, waste is too much. The greed is too high. This is the only country where people like me in office wants to own everything in the world. It is not so. You don't need to.
Certificate, primary school certificate, secondary school certificate, university certificate, everything about him, health status, we move New Nigeria.
NPDC have just agreed to an unremitted $21.8 billion. And ahead, they have given a schedule in which they can pay that back. That is what I heard. That's what I read in the newspaper. I'm only working with the newspaper. I'm sure the minister is here, so he will clarify it. So that is what they said. I also read that the federal government of Nigeria, they said this year they are going to sell 10 NIPP projects, the power generating plants. If I recall, when I was in government at 2013, the reserve price for it was about $5.9 billion. So we're looking at about $6 billion. My humble and appeal to government of today and Nigerians is that the remaining $4 billion on shared deduction, the one they have not earmarked for deduction, the NNPC 21.8 billion, and the 6 billion from sale of our listing is 31.8 billion. If we resolve today as a country that we're not going to share this, consider that all we shared in the past have not been, nobody have seen it. Nobody know where it went to. That's what we are seeing in people's houses now and all over the place. So let's talk about this one. Unemployment and underemployment. Out of 200 million Nigerians, 60% is supposed to be working. So you're supposed to have 120 million Nigerians working, but today Nigerians that are working are under 50 million. So 70-something million of Nigerians are not working. They are not productive. When you compare this to your productivity, you will see how low it is. But what is even worse, we're in a physical mess, total physical mess, because of all this. Between January this year and April, the total revenue of federal government of Nigeria is 1,630 billion naira. Their expenditure is 4,720 billion. If you minus this, we have a deficit of 3 trillion 100 billion. That shows almost 20% to almost 200% is the deficit. And this is the crisis you face. How did we come here? It's a cumulative effect of leadership failure over the years. Because it's 10%, I'll stop here. I would have talked about power. How did we come here? What are we going to do very quickly to come out of this? Very quickly, you need to have a visionary, articulated, competent leadership to start turning around this. Now next year, the election you're going to have next year will not be about, remember, it is not about tribe, no religion, not connection, not entitlement. It must be election about character, competence, capacity, and commitment to deliver. These youths, you see them every day, arresting for one thing or the other. If they are properly supported, they will change this world. When I say we are not a producing nation, they argue. They will even say the figures I use are wrong. But let me tell you, so you will go and verify. I said last year, late last month, I made a statement which you will see them using every day, when I said that Nigeria total export is less than $30 billion. You see where they are writing that is wrong. It is not wrong. Go to NBS, Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, released last year. Total export of Nigeria is 18.9 trillion. As at the date I made that statement, dollar was selling for about 650 naira. Go and divide 650 with 18.9, you give 29 point something billion dollars. Go and verify it. 18 of us. Let them come, not through crossroad. Let them come to us. So speak to you, and they are speaking. Let them show you what they've done in the past. We want to know their name, their age, school they went to, No, let them tell you their schools, their classmates, everything, so we can verify and know where they are. I'm not running on that ticket. Don't vote for me because of religion. Don't vote for me because it's my tongue. Don't vote for me because of connection or any other bias. Put all of us on a scale. Verify our background. Election of 2023 must be about character, competence, capacity, and commitment to the leader. If you decide to do away with the unconstitutional office of First Lady, it's very unconstitutional and adds a lot of confusion to what is happening. It costs an average state today about 2 billion to run that office. And all the office does is create confusion. So if you do away with it, as 2 billion average in a state, you have saved additional to 2 billion, which is 72 billion naira. Add it to our 900, we have 970. If you decide today, the average, most states have about an average of 6 bulletproof vehicles. Today is about 100 million naira for one. And if you times it, 100 million today, times 6, then times 36, it comes to about 21.6 billion. But if you reduce it to 2, it will be about 7.2 billion, and you save about 14 point something billion. If you decide, the average government house have about 25 jeeps. Today's price is about 35 to 40 million. So you're looking at an average of, if you use 35, is 875 million naira each, multiplied by 36. Again, if you reduce it from 25 to 8, you save about 15 billion. We don't need dispatch rider or whatever what is these people that create a lot of noise. You don't need that machine. You can go without them. Each of those machines, each of those machines costs about 12 to 15 million naira. And I can tell you, most states have about 6, 7, 8 of them. If you do away with them, you will find out that it's at another savings of probably 3 billion naira. Traveling. 1 minute. Traveling. Every government house or governor can tell you the number of traveling budget, logistics, they call it all of name, is almost 500 to 600 million. I believe you can do with, if you times again 600 times 36, I believe you can do all your travels for a third of that. You save 115. So if you look at what I've showed you now, you're going to save over 1 trillion. And I can tell you it is practical. People who said to me, Peter, how is this possible? How is it not possible? My dear, I was the governor. When I came to office, my first 4 trips to Abuja, I traveled with over 30 people. Over 30. Everybody have a title to be in the plane. Everybody have a title to do this. So, wait a minute. I'm the only person invited to Abuja. I pay for 30 people. If we get it wrong in 2023, I'm afraid you might not be meeting like this a few years after. Because today, our country have collapsed. And it's very simple. So we must get it right. What we are suffering today is cumulative effect of leadership failure over the years. And the church can no longer stay aside or think they can be involved. The people that are suffering are your people. Those who can't eat in all parts of Nigeria are your people. Those that are being kidnapped, killed, are your people. Looking for that, how we arrive here, becomes part of our building the solution to solving it. How are we going to get out of this mess we found ourselves? We have a nation that is divided. We're not talking about division now along ethnic lines only. We have religious lines. We have even elite class clashes because of disparity of income and everything. We shouldn't be. The question is not how much you owe, but what did you use the one you borrowed to do? Borrowing money is not a problem. All my life I've always borrowed money. But did you invest it? Or did you use it for consumption? When you're borrowing for consumption, you're heading for a disaster. When you're borrowing for wedding and to bury your parents that didn't save anything to be buried with, you're heading for a disaster. Forgetting that in year 2007, all our debts were cancelled. So why did we get here? What did we use it? Where are the bridges? Where are the roads? What did we use it to do? That is the challenge. That is the question. So when you look at these three things and you ask yourself a question, that is where we'll start. No country, no place. What we are going through today is a very simple thing. Is a cumulative effect of leadership failure over the years. Don't blame anybody, but over the several years of Nigeria, what it takes to govern, the main critical component of governance is trust and confidence. Do you trust your government? I'm asking you, do you trust your government? No. Because this is where Peter Obi campaigns and said, I will do A, B, C, D, E, F. Then he goes into office. He starts telling you what he met there. What do you think you're going to meet there? You told us a story that you're going to solve the problem because there was a problem. You're telling us you're going to solve. And you go there and say what you met. What were you going to meet? We voted you because you're going to solve it. You talk about nepotism in this country. That is the biggest form of corruption. He goes in and suddenly says, creates a magnet office and says, First Lady's office. When you were campaigning, there was nobody who saw with you. We just voted Peter Obi in. Where did the First Lady come from? Why are you going to build a huge office again? And says for this woman, we didn't vote Mr. and Mrs. We voted one person. And we want to see that one person talking to us. We didn't say throw away your wife or your husband. But we hired one person to solve this problem. That one person will now bring the wife, bring the wife's cousin, bring the wife's brother, bring this person. Oh no. I was reading the Chinese ambassador's letter a few days ago. He said you have to look at where you are and be able to then say where you want to go. Today, Nigeria is a home to the highest number of poor people living in any nation on earth. If you look at the latest report of UNDP, it says that Nigeria have moved from 86 million to 98 million persons living in extreme poverty. In fact, we are growing at 5% annually. Every minute, 6 Nigerians fall into poverty. Nigeria today is home for the highest number of out-of-school children, 13.2 million. In fact, if you look at what the minister is saying is correct, it should be about 15 million. And if you look at it, of all the countries I'm going to use to show an example of where we are and what we want to do, which is countries that are within the BRICS nation and countries that are within the Mint nation, Nigeria is the only country where you have such a low literacy rate of 51%. All of them are on the average of over 90%. Nigeria is 51. And this is because of our own gross lack of the impact of education, which is what the previous speakers were saying. Our underemployment and unemployment is one of the worst in the world. People will tell you it's about 25, it's actually over 30%. And with over 22 million young people in their productive age doing nothing, it is very worrisome. And of course, concomitant with all these devices we are seeing today, whether it's banditry, whether it's mass killing, kidnapping, and all sorts of things. These are what we are going through as a country. Our debt is escalating every day. If you recall, on May 1, 2017, at this platform, I warned and cried about the debts we are piling. Because I was not an economist, because I hadn't had the opportunity of working in any of the Brentwood institutions, the then Minister for Finance said, no, that we are going to spend our way out of recession. Today, all the economists at the Brentwood institutions are complaining about our debt. We are now almost at 28 trillion, $90 billion with little or nothing to show for it. What is even worse, the debt is growing daily, and consequently, the service, what we require to service it, is worsening. And I give you an example. In 2017, and I always tell people, when people say they want to be anything, make you not ask them, make you go look where they come from. Ask people where pass there. What did this man or woman do when I meet them before? When I leave Anambra State, there I say I not be governor again. Nobody. What did they call gratuity?
The whole state.
Nobody.
You don't pay everybody.
When I came, we were owing people 32 billion.
When you come,
when I come,
waiting you meet for ground now.
People, they calculated it. In fact, to tell you how that problem was solved, and they go church every morning as governor. One day they inside church. One 80-year-old woman come and say I should leave the church.
Yeah.
Make her come out from here. Make her not pray again.
As governor.
Say, you know, I know they go into church with security. Just like I come here. Security know they follow me go into person's house. Talk less of
Please,
church.
let's appreciate you.
So, because church na God. Security no there for church. So one old woman come carry my paper and say make her come out from here. Mrs. Cindy Bay. Say come out. God no go hear your prayers.
Yeah.
If you want God to hear your prayers, go and pay me my
Pension.
gratuity and pension. Then you can come back and pray. Now I followed the woman go in house. The thing where he talk. I came back and say, I must clear this. So when I leave, we know anybody gratuity. We know anybody pension. We know anybody salary.
Kogi una dey here, Kogi una dey here.
I I want you to go and verify, Brekete, to go and verify that no contractor we're doing work with the O. No supplier we're doing work with the O. And when I hand over, I did it in public, I announced this. And I say, we get 3 banks for Nigeria. Bank number 1, Access Bank, they still there. The managing director and the person they call Ike Mokode. I say, Ike, I have in your bank 12 billion naira.
For the
$50
state.
million for the state.
Wait, separate them, I beg, because of enemies of progress.
For the state.
The 12 billion naira.
Now for Anambra State. Anambra State.
Wait, the 12 billion naira now you convert to dollar.
No, I they tell you where you there. I say, managing director, in your bank today, Anambra State government, we get $50 million, 12 billion naira. Say yes. I say, give unto this man where they come in. Now be the new
as
governor.
governor.
I call Diamond Bank. I say, LSOT. Now you be managing director. Yes. Stand up because they did there. I say, I get in your bank $50 million, 12 billion naira. Say yes. Say, give unto this man. Now they come in. I call Fidelity Bank. Say, regional there. Now you be managing director. Say yes. I say, I get $56 million, 12 billion naira. Give unto this man. I say, I'm not owing any salary here. I'm not owing anybody. This money, Anambra State money. Me, I don't do my work. They are bank. This is a bank in Nigeria. They are not the bank. They are not the bank overseas. That's why I call the managing director. And if the family wants, I give them the statement. You go and verify. There are banks there say, this is the money belonging to Anambra State. I do investment for company. This company, Traditional Breweries, I invested in it $30 million. Take them. I do NIPP, $59 million. Take them. Now, all this belong to state. I dey live today. No gratuity, no severance, no pension. Since I leave, Anambra never buy me pure water.
Hey!
I don't go home. So I don't do my work. I don't leave. If you go there, I don't own any piece of land in Anambra State where Anambra give me. I'm home. So for me, I've done my work in Anambra. When I came, we were number 26 in WAEC. 26, 27. Go and check them. I say, my priority is to develop Anambra along the line where development be. They get where they measure development. Now make Nigeria know they work. Development, they measure on what they call Human Development Index, HDI. And it's a very simple thing. They call it statistical record of life expectancy, which is health, education, and what they call per capita income, which is pulling people out of poverty. If you don't get that, so now we take work. We go take what they call MDG, Millennium Development Goals, which is along these 3 lines. Now we take work. So we look, what thing we go do for health? We go partner with some voluntary agencies to develop our school of nursing, school of midwifery, school of this. We went into education. I said, no, we cannot be number 26. Where can NECO? No. It will change. By the time I leave, we were number 1. And go and check the record. We are number 1, 2011, 12, 13.
What did you do?
We decided that, in fact, this morning when I come, somebody sent me something. 1, that every school, even that time, boys know they go, young boys know they go school again, they go trade. I said, I'll bring them back to school. We decided, I have, for example, about 250 something secondary schools that are owned by government, out of which we took from churches. About 70% of them, I gave it back to them. Private schools where people own, we incorporate them, all of them came to about 500 secondary schools. Say, one, I as governor must visit all of them.
Personally.
I visited every secondary school in Anambra State, and senior prefect of every Anambra State school, senior prefect had my phone number. He must reach me direct as governor. You can go and ask them, every school in Anambra State, the senior prefect must reach the governor direct. And be able to tell me, this is not problem where they their school. This is a problem where they their school. They don't get teacher. They don't get this. I want to hear it direct. Not so when I wake up in the morning, I have 10 texts. We don't get water. We don't get this. I'm going to that school. I ate at least lunch and dinner with over 60 schools. So if you say the food no they good, everybody, commissioner, me, governor, that's where we go eat that food today.
Even if not to purge,
everybody go eat that thing where the children they eat today. Let's go and eat it. You, my commissioner, let's go and eat it, so that we know what they're eating. That we did. If you go, every school in Anambra State, I'm sure Anambra people go there, Bracket family. Every school get 2 buses. Every school get generator. Every school get computer. Now Anambra buy the highest computer they don't buy from HP in Nigeria. Even their man from America come, because we bought 30,000 computers. We estimated that every 10 students must have one desktop computer. We use
every 10 students.
Every school we say 10 of you one, 10 of you one. So we bought 30,000 put for school. So that's equip the school. We put internet in every school. You go any school in Anambra.
Nigerians are used to being disappointed by their leaders. And when you think about some of the problems that are facing the country right now, they're systemic. I'm talking about corruption. I'm talking about oil theft. I'm talking about insecurity. I'm talking about the fiscal hole that Nigeria is in right now. Can all of that really be solved by one person?
Well, if you have a leader that is competent, have the capacity and commitment to start dealing with it, you're not going to solve it overnight. But there will be a clear, visible, measurable attempt to dealing with it. And they're things that are solvable. They're things that can be dealt with decisively. But you have to have a leader that, if you look at what he's been able to do in the past, you can say yes.
If indeed you do become Nigeria's next president. Nigeria, as you know, is broke. It is barely able to service its debt. It spends so much more than it earns. What are your plans? Just from a concrete perspective, what are your plans to take Nigeria's economy off of life support?
Well, a variety of things. One is that you have to deal decisively with the issue of security. It's impacting negatively on your economy today. You have to deal with it head on, because you have to get your farmers to go back to farm and start ensuring that the vast land of the north are invested, are cultivated on. You have to start pulling people out of poverty as quickly as possible. You have to reduce aggressively cost of governance and deal with the issue of corruption.
Anyone who knows anything about Nigeria knows that it has this embarrassing reputation of, despite the fact that it is Africa's largest oil producer, it imports refined fuel. What is your plan for transforming Nigeria's economy from a consumption economy to a production economy?
Let me use the issue of oil, for example. There's no reason why our refineries cannot work. There's no reason why we should not encourage private sector to build refineries and operate them. And they're not rocket science. It can be done as quickly as possible. You can use today the side to remove the fuel subsidy, use the resources to support critical areas of production, from critical infrastructure to education to supporting investment in refinery, which will be, like I said, done within a shortest possible time.
A lot of Nigerian presidents have come in and talked about revitalizing the manufacturing sector, investing in refineries, but change, as you know, has been very, very slow. Why is it going to be different with you? And what would you say were the biggest hurdles in making sure that all of the things that you've just listed come to pass?
Well, what people need to do is to go and look at what I promised as a state governor when I said I'm going to turn around education, health, pull people out of poverty, bring sanity and civility in governance in Anambra State, whether that happened or not. When I said we're going to save money, did we do that?
I want to talk about one of the other sort of major issues that Nigeria is dealing with, grappling with right now, and that is, of course, violence and insecurity. You can barely travel from one part of Nigeria to another without fearing for your life. And I'm talking about kidnapping, I'm talking about banditry, I'm talking about terrorism, I'm talking about Boko Haram. What is your plan for that?
You know, I did say that initially that what we need to first head on is issue of security. Because unless you have security, the farmers can't go back, you can't attract investment, nobody will ever want to go to an insecure place. And you can deal with that. There's so many, you need to do a lot of work, reorganize your security architecture, ensure that there's multi-level policing. Issue of state police has to be decisively dealt with. There's so many things you need to do. You need to bring in more personnel into the security system, equip them properly, ensure that they are properly motivated to deal with the issue of security, because the need is the most important thing Nigeria needs today.
As you know, you and I are both Nigerian, we're both Igbos, we're both from southeastern Nigeria. Nigeria is a very hard country to hold together. You've got 200 million people, so many different tribes, so many different competing interests and ideas. And when you think about the fact that, you know, you're from the southeast, how easy is it going to be to rally Nigerians perhaps from the north behind you? That's got to be on your mind.
That is what it was yesterday. Another problem, because we have been able to elect people based on ethnicity, religion, my turn, connection, or one form of bias or the other, which brought us to where we are, or structure, which always says structure of criminality. That is what we want to dismantle now and ensure that the next election is based on character, capacity, competence, commitment to do the right thing. Nigeria is now not just in a physical mess, it is at the last stage to collapse. The people in the north don't have a secure place. They don't have good roads. They don't buy bread cheaper than people in the south. So is the people in the south. So all you hear about ethnicity, religion, connection, my turn, is elite conspiracy to keep Nigeria underdeveloped. But now we've reached the edge. We can no longer continue this way.
Mr. Obi, thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. On the issue of liquidity, mine is to always ask the same question. How do governments of other countries get their own liquidity? Because they are going through the same problem we're going through. For you to generate revenue, it's like going to a bank. You have to pay in first. Then you can get withdraw. And how does government pay in? It is the job of government to ensure and invest in economic growth and then create job and employment which will allow people to come and pay taxes. You cannot have 100 million people living in poverty and you're expecting robust revenue. Where are you going to get it from? The number of people, if you use the standard, Nigeria is 200 million people. So the number of people that are supposed to be working, gainfully employed, if you use the world average of 50-60%, it's 120 million. But all of us know that today, the number of people that are gainfully employed and working in Nigeria is about 40 million. So you have about 60 to 70 million people unproductive. So they're not doing anything for you. So what you need to do is to start pulling those people out of poverty, have a robust economic growth, and then you will be able to have the liquidity the government needs to function.